Thanks for listening to Uncle Sam's Soccer Podcast, keeping you up to date with the latest in American soccer. And don't forget to subscribe.
Hello everyone, welcome to Uncle Sam's Soccer Podcast. My name is Steven Jotter, and joining me today, as always, is Jake Wetruba and Armand Kafai. And on today's episode, it's the big one. The U.S. men's national team take on Guyana in St. Paul at Allianz Field. We're all excited to play the 175th ranked team in the FIFA rankings. But before we get to the discussion, make sure you hit that subscribe button wherever you get your podcast. Leave us a 5-star review and follow us on Twitter at Uncle Sam Soccer Pod. Go back, listen to yesterday's episode. We discussed the women celebrating and the Women's World Cup as a whole. Now, fellas, man, nothing is more enticing than the U.S. playing the 175th ranked team in the world.
You just love to see it.
You love
to see it. You love to see it. There's nothing better than seeing the U.S. men's national team take on Guyana, two teams that don't like each other very much. Let's see, what other sports cliches can I throw out there? When these two teams get together, you can throw the records out the window. Man, I am so pumped to watch the U.S. men's national team play Guyana. I can't even point to where Guyana is on the map. Matter of fact, I think it's in South America. How is this team in CONCACAF? Should they be in CONMEBOL?
Yeah, that's actually good question. Guys, let's play some Q&A. Let's learn about Guyana. Where is it geographically? What countries do you think surround Guyana? Armand?
I know nothing. I'm not good. I'm not good.
I'll take a stab. Venezuela?
Yes.
Curacao?
No.
There's another CONCACAF nation that's in South America.
Okay, 5 stars. Give you a hint. 5 stars.
Aruba.
What? No. 5 stars. Soccer related.
Mean?
It's a soccer related hint. 5 stars. The stars above Brazil. Okay.
Brazil.
It is also the 3rd smallest sovereign state on mainland South America after Uruguay and Suriname. And it's one of how many nations competing in CONCACAF, Armand?
3. Suriname, French Guiana, and or French Guinea, and Guyana. These are the 3 South American teams that are competing in CONCACAF.
Let's talk about the squad. A heavy English presence. 11 of the players actually play in England, and all of these players were born in England. 8 of the 11 play non-league football.
And Steven, they also have an MLSer on their team, but he will not be making an appearance in the Gold Cup due to a broken foot. That is Philadelphia Union defensive midfielder Warren Craval. Like I said, he will be out due to a broken foot. So from the looks of it, 8 of the 11 players play non-league football. We have one MLSer.
Who's not going to be there.
Not going to be there. So not a whole lot of professional soccer players on this Guianan national team.
Armand, give us some quick notes regarding the U.S. men's national team, some developments that have happened over the course of the last week.
Yeah, so as we learned, Tyler Adams is out with an injury. He won't be in the Gold Cup. Reggie Cannon was called in. Dwayne Holmes was also out with an injury as well. Jordi Mihalovic, I think a Berhalter favorite and a hipster pick to be your favorite young MLS player, according to some writers across the league, is now put in.
Shots fired.
Now put into the Gold Cup. There's only 2 news right there.
Listeners, yeah, this is not the best preview of this game, but what is there to the preview? And this leads us to the question of the day. Can the U.S. men's national team ease the minds of fans in tonight's game?
No.
Hell no. They're going to make it worse.
No. They could win 13-0 and not celebrate, and I'd still be concerned.
Can I just be that guy? The sports, just be that evil mastermind in sports. I want the U.S. men's national team to score 10+ goals and then have the media world blow up. Twitter, I don't know, might go extinct talking about goal celebrations.
I'm here for it. but it won't happen because the U.S. won't score 10. I don't think they'll score 10.
Okay, but
No, they won't.
no
They
way.
won't score 10. This game will be more interesting than it needs to be, I think.
Wow. And I do think you guys have a point here. Listeners at Unc Sam's Soccer Pod, question of the day. Can the U.S. men's national team ease the minds of fans in tonight's game? And I think the overwhelming answer is no. They could win, like Armand said, 10+ against Guyana, and it really wouldn't mean anything. Because, let's face it, guys, would we actually learn anything if they scored 10+ goals against the 175th team in the world?
No, what is there to learn? They should destroy Guyana. There's no reason why they shouldn't. I mean, come on. You said, what are they ranked 170-something in the FIFA rankings? I mean, the U.S. should handle this team with ease. And I think it's sad that we're at this point with U.S. soccer where it's, are we going to feel any better about ourselves if we beat Guyana? I mean, you really shouldn't. But, like, I mean, let's face it. If the U.S. like wins 2-1 on Tuesday, are you guys going to be surprised by that? Are you guys going to go, oh, well, that doesn't really surprise me with the way they've been playing?
No, I'd be surprised.
There's
That'd be
nothing.
terrible.
No, I would.
That would be a
I would.
terrible result.
Yeah, that would. That's.
It would be a terrible result, but it wouldn't surprise me. You know what else wouldn't surprise me? If they won 8-0, that also wouldn't surprise me. There's nothing the U.S. can do in this match that'll make me feel better about the direction that they're going in right now.
Any chance they lose?
No, and if they lose, Berhalter shouldn't get off that bus.
I'd
You should
resign.
get on the bus.
I would
Yeah,
resign.
get on the bus, yeah.
Resign right then and there.
I think.
There's
I don't
no
think-
way. I don't think there's any way they'll lose.
Well,
I really
that's-
don't, because the talent level, the disparity. I think, forget it, Greg. Natural talent, there's talent on the team. They'll win it. They'll win it. Now, will it be comfortably? I don't know. Will they struggle to break down this team? I don't know. Maybe it'll be 2-0 or 3-0, and then you might say, that's not the most convincing result. I think it's the only
But
way
what
it's
would
gonna
be
happen.
convincing? 8-0? I mean, what
Nothing.
in our
I
eyes?
don't think anything would be convincing.
So the problems with this team, whether it's on the coaching side, players' mind, the lack of talent throughout the U.S. soccer system, nothing would be put to ease in this match. And I think that's completely correct. I don't know, listeners, tweet at us at UncSamSoccerPod, what actually could be put to ease. I mean, you're playing a team that's the 175th team in the world. And I think this is a problem for the U.S. men's national team, is that they do not face competition that will actually challenge them. And when they do get punched, it could go quite south for the U.S. when they lost Jamaica under Jurgen Klinsmann. And, yeah, maybe Jurgen Klinsmann is to blame. Maybe the players are to blame. But I personally also would blame the federation, the fact that they don't play a competition regularly that is competitive enough. What did Tata Martino say the other day, Armand?
Tata talked about how if it was up to him, Mexico would actually be playing in Copa America instead of in the Gold Cup. And he goes on, it's just from mediotempo.com, talks about how they prefer playing a Gold Cup because Mexico plays a lot of their matches, if not most of their matches, in the United States. He wants them to get out of their comfort zone, go to South America, and play against much superior competition in CONMEBOL versus CONCACAF. And he also mentions in the article he'd rather have his teams playing in the Copa Libertadores rather than the CONCACAF Champions League, just so they can get more experience in these more tougher environments.
I mean, that's a mic drop round of applause for Tata Martino. Do you think Berhalter would ever say that, Jake?
Seeing as he comes from MLS? No, I mean, what Tata said reminded me a lot of what Jurgen said when he was here. And I'm not sitting here saying Jurgen's the best manager the U.S. has ever had. But how many times we hear Jurgen challenge U.S. players and say, get your ass to Europe? How many times did we hear Jurgen talk about how we need to be playing better teams internationally? We can't be playing the Guyanas of the world. We can't be playing Guatemala and Honduras. We need to go and be playing Italy, the Netherlands, Germany. We need to be challenging ourselves.
But not in friendlies, because the U.S. did that last fall. Italy, Brazil, Holland. We did that.
No, you're right, but they really can't get the only competition that they can get into is a Copa America. That's only if they're invited. So you can't. I mean, the U.S. is kind of stuck because they play in CONCACAF. You can't really blame them because they play in the Gold Cup.
No, but then the federation should take ownership of this problem. Obviously, Mexico and Tata Martino would be interested in this. Develop a different competition. Fine, keep Copa America If that wants to be a accountable thing, fine. Create a new competition that fits in every other year, or make the Gold Cup just once every 4 years, and then fit in this new competition, and you pair it up with the South American teams. You make it a 24-team competition, and you cycle it through. You probably host the first round of games in America, and then you take it south to Brazil, and then you bring it to Mexico, and then you bring it, I don't know, to a different nation. You cycle them through. But this is a huge problem with the U.S. men's national team, because here we are, obviously into somewhat of an important competition. I think this competition has increasingly gotten more important based on the results of the friendlies the last couple of weeks. And here we are, playing the 175th ranked team in the world. Tell me, what good does this do for the U.S. men's national team?
It's a good practice run for when they get revenge against Trinidad and Tobago on Saturday or Sunday next weekend. I can't remember what day they play. That's all it is. It's a tune-up. That's all it is. It's literally this is the equivalent of playing your World Cup tune-up against Azerbaijan. That's what this is.
Yeah, man. It's not gonna help ease any minds or anything, but you know what? You gotta play the competition. You gotta do it. So here you are. You can only play who's in front of you. So as long as they get a good, comfortable result, which is not like a 2-0, then I guess you just smile, move on to the next game, which are much more important. Panama and Trinidad coming up.
Yeah. It's interesting. U.S. women's national team plays Sweden. U.S. play Trinidad. Both teams they lost to in some controversy, or the outcomes were controversial. Not the outcome itself was controversial, but what happened post-match was very controversial, and it kind of lit some things on fire. Now, listeners, question of the day. How do you feel? Can the U.S. men's national team ease part of your mind in tonight's match in St. Paul? Now, Jake, you in the pre-show notes pulled some comments from Greg Berhalter, U.S. men's national team manager, in the sit-down Q&A with Jeff Carlisle of ESPN from June 12th. And these are some interesting quotes, and I think somebody might be feeling the pressure here.
Yeah, I got two questions here that Jeff Carlisle asked Greg Berhalter. The first question was, what will constitute success at this Gold Cup? Is it win or bust, or is it more about players getting knowledge about your system and your tactics? Greg Berhalter responds with, it's about competing. It's about our tactics, the way we play. It's about going through this process and learning together, because tournaments are a learning process for a group. So it's about those three things. Then to me, it's ultimately about putting ourselves in a position to win. We know Mexico is a very good team, probably the favorites of the tournament. We know that's a good team. We know that Panama has an experienced team. We know it's not going to be easy, but it's going to be good for this group to dig and have to compete for something. Guys, that kind of sounds like a non-answer. It doesn't really sound like he's setting expectations at all. He just kind of says, yeah, we're just here to learn.
He's nervous.
He's feeling the heat.
He's feeling the heat, but he's nervous because he's like, oh boy, maybe the mental makeup of this team is not what I thought it was, and they crumble under any type of outside of threat.
I'm telling
Jake, you pulled this quote. It's actually really interesting because it doesn't, to me, portray any confidence. To me, it's a lot of, oh yeah, like, you know, Mexico's good. They're a good team. Panama's good. They're a good team. You know, it's going to be good to get experience.
It's a fitness comment. Remember, it goes back to that fitness comment.
Like, what is this? Like, it's a learning process. No, it's not. It's a competition that should be won. The learning process should have been in 2018 while the U.S. men's national team was wasting their time with Dave Sarakan. That's when their learning process should have been, not during your first competitive matchup. Your learning process should have been in those games against Italy, instead of watching a terrible 4-1, 4-1, instead of, us waiting on, a coach in the World Cup, we end up with the guy who's going to be there from the get-go, regardless of what happens, who decide, I'm going to take my time, finish with the Columbus Crew because the crew is more important than the men's national team. The learning process shouldn't be now. This is on U.S. Soccer and Berhalter. The learning process should have been all that time wasted under Dave Sarakan. Not now. Not the Gold Cup. Not a competitive matchup. Ball.
Mexico isn't
saying this.
You're frustrated.
Mexico isn't saying this. Mexico isn't saying this. Mexico isn't saying this. They had the vacancy, filled it in less time than the United States did. Think about that. They went to a World Cup. Like they went to a World Cup. They got knocked out. In the knockout stage. Their coach left. They hire a better coach than the U.S. did, when the U.S. had more time. And now they're excelling with 6 or 7 stars missing. It's a joke. It's an absolute joke.
It'll be interesting to see what happens if, let's say, after the first 45 minutes tonight, if this match is tied 0-0, Guyana, USA.
Oh, the pressure will be on.
How this team reacts in the second half. Because that is, you talk about a team that's not very confident in themselves. What happens when they can't get a goal in the first 45 minutes? Or what happens when Guyana, let's just say Guyana hits them in the mouth first. And what happens? Does this team just crumble with everything that's been going on right now? Greg Berhalter's comments do not bestow a man that is very confident in his side right now.
What happens when the fans sense like, oh crap, this could be a long game? Do you not think that could have a huge influence on the mental makeup of these players?
I mean, fans are going to turn. They're going to get impatient. Like you said, Guyana's 175 in the world or whatever. People know that they're not facing a very good team, and fans will get very impatient if the U.S. don't make quick business of them. So, but I want to move on to the second question here before we wrap up. Jeff Carlaw asked Greg Berhalter, having played in Europe, to what extent is the culture over there more cutthroat than it is over here? Berhalter says, it's not the same, but I think you have leagues that are more established. That's what it is. There are leagues where you don't have a salary cap, so money is driving most of this. When you're talking about cutthroat, when you're talking about pressure, what's it driven by? Money. That's all it's driven by. So when there's big TV contracts and to win the Champions League, you get X amount. And if you get relegated, you lose X amount. That's where some of this comes into play. I think MLS has done a great job of growing and improving the quality of its league, but we're still not where the Premier League is or the Bundesliga is, and that's normal. But what we've done over the last 5 years alone is amazing. Wow, look at little old MLS. Isn't that just amazing what we've done here?
The difference between the U.S. women's national team and the U.S. men's national team is that one seems to actually be able to take the punches and respond. The other, turtles.
Deflects.
And deflects, yeah.
Also, it is a little bit of a leading question, having played in Europe, to what extent is the culture over there more cutthroat than it is over here? It is more cutthroat. We all know that. I think it's a little bit of a leading question, though, saying, hey, look, like, to what extent is it? And Greg might be, I have to be a little bit defensive, saying, hey, look, I coach in MLS. Like, I am a little bit of part of MLS's growth as a whole with my involvement as that dual technical director or whatever, GM and coach role with the league. But at the same time, I think there's a lot better way to answer that,
Yeah.
There's a lot better way to answer that rather than pressure. Pressure's all driven by money. I mean, yeah, you could say that, but I mean, is it really? Like, is that what's pressuring some League One team to move up the championship? Money? I think there's a little bit more behind it. And while a lot of it might be money, I think there is a lot more. And he's obviously not going to go off on the Brad Friedel-esque Grant. Yeah, we should stand by their cars and smash their windows or something like that. But it's a very non-answer.
Personal pride.
The one thing I've noticed, and I think you guys will agree with me on this, Berhalter is very neutral with his answers. Whenever he says stuff, he's not saying, oh yeah, this or oh yeah, that. It's just like, yeah, we're gonna do this.
I don't know if it's neutral because
it's a little cutthroat, but MLS is okay too. Or yeah, we're in the Gold Cup. Do you want to win it or what's we're gonna compete? Maybe
but look, Armand.
These are non-answers.
It would work if the U.S. men's national team was at the top, or say on level with Mexico.
I'm not saying it's good.
But it sounds more of a deflection than it sounds neutral.
Second, non-answer. Yeah,
it's a non-answer. I don't know, listeners. Do you agree? Disagree with us? Question of the day. Can the U.S. men's national team ease the minds of you, the fans, in tonight's games? We are a resounding no. Let us know at Uncle Sam's Soccer Pod. Come back tomorrow. We're heading south. We're in chat. Austin FC. Talking about the Buzz with Josh Babeski. Come back Thursday. We'll talk U.S. men's national team with a special guest and preview the match against Trinidad and Tobago. Follow us at Armancafy, at Jake Watroba, at Steven Jotter, and go back, listen to some previous episodes. We have a wonderful interview with Las Vegas Lights FC owner Brett Lashbrook. Listeners, keep us posted. Come back tomorrow.